Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 1061 to 1062 for the 19th to the 20th of January, and this includes information from the 21st of January. And so my sleeping schedule is all over it's totally the mess. So it's a big mess. So my scheduling of the Ukraine video is also a mess. So yeah, so just bear with me and let me adjust back. So yeah, life sucks. So anyway, a lot of changes, a lot of things happened over in Ukraine in the past 2 days, and this report includes the latest geolocation and frontline changes in Ukraine. So include information from the 21st of January. So we're gonna go on from Kursk first. In the Kursk front, there is major updates regarding the situation in Kursk. So Russian forces continue their operations. So we go to the western flank first. Russian forces have advanced in the western flank. Over at Nikolaevo Darino, they have taken positions. This is one of the latest geolocation with Russian forces advancing in the southwest of Nikolaevo Darino. Fighting is being reported here. Russian forces continue their attack towards Svetiklovo as well as Lebedevka. So this is ongoing. Let me adjust my mouse speed is a bit too slow. So that's what there's this over the western flank. In the northern flank, there is also major updates regarding the situations. So so that's Uzni. Okay, let me adjust. So fighting is reported at Novaya Sorokina, Nikolaevka, Malaya Loknia, and then at Viktorovka and Nikorsky, there is geolocation of Russian forces advancing, showing that the Russians have actually have attacked into this region here pretty successfully at Nikorsky as well. So this this means that the Russians is advancing yet again over from the Kulenkoye region, and it remains to be seen whether the Russians can actually hold positions. So, and then there is also Yuzhny being reported. I'm not sure if this is an attack or is this is just shelling. So no, clearly is not happy here. So and if we zoom in a bit, you can see that Russian forces basically entering into Nikorsky as well as Viktorovka in a two-pronged attack. So this attack is currently happening right now. These are the latest geolocation. This geolocation is on the 20th, this 21st. So both is currently what is happening around this sector. There is some frontline change due to previous geolocation. I think I forgot to remove all the previous SITREPs reported frontline change. Just bear with me if it's there. Yeah, it's because like I said, my sleeping schedule is making everything very chaotic for me for the Ukraine war reporting. So yeah, so that's just bear with me. Over in the southern flank and in the Sudzha region, so Russian forces mentioned Zoloshenka, probably shelling. Fighting is reported at Krylovka and Goevo. In the Sudzha region, there's fighting reported at Bodarevka, and there's a clash in the Makhnovka. And geolocation shows that the Ukrainian forces have regained full control at Makhnovka. So this geolocation confirms that the Ukrainian forces have retaken the entire region, which means that the previous information about the Ukrainian forces from this area, they were this geolocation that they are redrawing from Makhnovka is actually inaccurate, which is why we have to do dual mapping, Russian and Ukrainian mapping, so that we know what's the truth. And with this means that the Ukrainians have returned and retaken and re-established control over Makhnovka. So fighting is still ongoing in this region. So let's wait and see how this progress. And there is further geolocation MLRS hitting Guevo. So things are happening right here. So let's move on over in the Kharkiv front. At the Kharkiv front, this front is a bit quiet. The Mali Prokori was mentioned. Geolocation of Ukrainian forces getting hit at Lipsy. Russians are attacking Voschansk, but then nothing much is really happening per se. And then there's an FPV drone hitting a Humvee just off Voschansk, and there's nothing much over in this Taike region. So that's all from Kharkiv. Over the Dvorichna front, over the border region, Russian forces have attacked Dvorichna. Previously, they have attacked Topoli. This was the previous one. Now this time around, they're attacking Dvorichna. So the Russians are definitely creating some kind of a problem for the Ukrainians in this sector, trying to draw Ukrainian forces into this area here. It was pretty successful, as mentioned in the previous SITREP. Ukrainians have sent tanks to Kamyanka. So Ukrainian forces are definitely being drawn into this area here. Probably a diversion because the Russians are attacking out of Dvorichna, in the Dvorichna front. So this is probably a diversion to pull Ukrainian resources away from this area where the Russians are currently doing their offensive, and is probably getting pretty successful. Fighting is now moving towards Kotivka. Fighting is reported at Dvorichna as well as the Patny. At Dvorichna, the Russian forces have captured the entire eastern part and also the entire southern part and southwestern part. So the Russian forces have expanded massive control over Dvorichna, and which means that the Russian forces have taken 2/3 of Dvorichna right now. If I zoom in, you probably see a bit better. The entire eastern part over here, the Russians have taken everything in this sector, including all of the northern part of the city. They have taken most of the center. They have stretched all the way to the Sohonivka district, capturing everything south of Nizhny Dvorichna River. So basically everything south of the river is almost under Russian control. And then the Ukrainians are holding around 1/3 of the city left. And I think this is going to get worse as we go along. So let's see, because this capture is pretty massive. It's updated by the Ukrainian mapping. The total distance travel is 2 kilometers. Very, very big capture by the Russian forces. So Dvorichna front is really definitely getting hotter, and Ukrainian Defense Ministry already starting to talk about Kotivka in their report 2 days ago. So let's see how this continues to play out. And the Russians are already TOSing Ukrainian forces in the forest outside of Dvorichna already. So there must be some kind of a Ukrainian forward operating position around here, attracting attention, and it got TOS, thermobaric strike. So things are looking really bad for the Ukrainians right now. And then they have this diversion over in the border region. Sorry for don't get dizzy. Sorry, don't get dizzy. And then the Russians are continuing to put pressure at the border region to draw Ukrainian attention away. And I think it's just a no-win for the Ukrainians, because the Russians could still push out from this area if you pay attention to this one. And if you pay attention to this one, the Russians will just enter in. So how do you do it? I have no idea for the Ukrainians, but you need more troops. You need more troops. So over in the Kupiansk front, so Pischani front, I'm going to crack it open into two. So the northern part is going to be part of Kupiansk front to reduce one more front line, easier for reporting. Russian forces are attacking Petropavlivka, Pischani, Novosilka, as well as Kolesnikivka and Klushkivka. So this region here seems like a new offensive that is brewing. These are all reported on the 19th and 20. So this is the Pischani one is on the 19th. So the Russians are definitely making some move in this sector in the southern part of Kupiansk front. So let's wait and see how this play out, whether this will become a real serious offensive operation. In the Borova front, Russian forces are fighting at Darizove, Nova Kryakivka, Lozova, Borevska, Andrievka, Zelenihai, Stepi or Peshok Kopanki, Nadia, Novosehevka, and Novoyehorivka. And the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Novoyehorivka in their yesterday's situation report. Ukrainian mapping have mapped that everything, almost everything east of Stepi or south of Andrievka is now under Russian control as they push south in the direction towards Nadia. So this is basically a corroboration of most of the mapping already mapped by the Russian side. So these Ukrainians are updating their mapping. So which also shows that there's a linkage of Russian forces over in the north of the reservoir and the south of the reservoir or the lake. So from Ryhorovka. So the Russians are making move. This is a pretty big huge ground captured. I think this is like combined around 8 square kilometers captured by the Russian forces. So pretty significant advances in this sector. So this Borova front. Over in the Makiivka region, Russian forces are fighting at Makiivka and Nevsky. And I want to highlight Nevsky, the Google map changed name again, changed another name again. So Nevsky is now known as the Balka-Zuravka, which is like, what? Why the hell they changed the name? So there goes Nevsky. There's no more Nevsky on the map. Zuravka Gully is Balka Zuravka, which is actually referring to this gully region. And I'm not sure why Nevsky suddenly have to change name. You see, this is Nevsky, but somehow, or Nevskoye, suddenly this village just become Balka Zuravka. It's like, why? Why is there all these sudden name changes? I don't get it. Like, yeah, it's really weird that Google is doing all these things and making sure that you cannot find the location on the map. I think I'm not sure. So over in the Liman front, at the Liman front, fighting is now moving towards Zelena Dolena. Fighting is reported at Novosadove, Ivanivka, towards Kolozyazi, towards Bilohorevka, Terny, east of Terny, as well as in the Serebiansky Forestry and Zareshny. So this front line is getting really hot, particularly in the north. Is super hot right now in the north as the Russian forces have blow up this area here. So the Russian forces have expanded the bridgehead. This is already mentioned in the previous SITREP, I believe. And now, as per I have predicted, the Russian forces have advanced southward towards Bilohorivka. And this is a massive update because this means that they are making a move, and combined with our previous mapping that the geolocation confirmed the Russians' capture of Terny, and this means that the Russians have basically taken the crossing at Terny, and the Ukrainian mapping have mapped that the Russian forces have taken more grounds around the Gully region east of Terny. So most of these my predictions or analysis of this sector is getting it's pretty correct, pretty accurate, as I continue to predict that the Russians will continue to push on, hit into Yampolivka in the pincer, and then they will also hit Kolozyazi and go backwards to hit the rear position of the defense line. So this is looking like what is I thought is going to happen. So it is happening. So let's continue to watch. I really want to do SITREP every day, so no, my timing is terrible. So like I said, I apologize for all this messed up timing. I need to sleep earlier. Now it's 1 a.m. Singapore time, so I lose my morning and early afternoons, and my reports just come out too late. So anyway, over at the Sivers, fighting is reported at Verkhovno-Kayamsky, Ivano-Darivka, and Fedorivka. So these are pretty recent, especially Fedorivka is latest. Verkhovno-Kayamsky, there was on the 20th, but Ivano-Darivka on the 19th. Yeah, so pretty skirmishy, I would say, nothing particularly outstanding. And then, so sometimes I look here, I look this side because actually this is a mirror image. So I look this side, is actually on my right. I'm just checking if the recording is ongoing, and sometimes I have to check if the audio is ongoing because so sometimes you see my eyes darting because I was like making sure that I'm not wasting my time. So over in the northern flank of the Bakhmut front, so fighting is reported towards Minkivka, Markove, as well as Mainske. So this is the northern flank. I'm not sure if this is an offensive operation, but we're definitely seeing a lot of reports of fighting in these sectors. Vyro-Lubivka was also mentioned. I think it's possible that the Russians are pushing from Chasivya in the direction of Myro-Lubivka. And Shovone was shelled, Podovsky was shelled, but there is a possibility that I might transit them to fighting because it's getting too near. And Mykolaievka, we have changed it to fighting. So previously I always map it as shelling. So things are moving, so I have to map it changingly. Fighting is reported at Chasivya. Geolocation of Russian forces advancing in the forest in this salient in the south of Chasivya was noted. This is an airstrike over in just east of Chervony. This advancement is the Russians attacking this they call it fortification. I'm not sure. It does look a bit like a military base of sort. So Russian forces expanding into the forest. They are fighting in this area here. So the Russians previously have already advanced in this area. So yeah, pincer is possible. And let's see how this continues to play out. It looks like Chasivya is going to fall to the Russians. As much as I keep saying that, is strategically, it's not very important to capture Chasivya, but Russians go ahead to capture it anyway. So let's just wait and see how this continues to play out. In the southern flank, we have fighting reported over at Stupovsky, Bilhora, as well as Ozyarenivka. We haven't seen a report of Ozyarenivka since last year June. So we haven't seen this place named for a long time. So it was a surprise to see this back. Over at the Torex front, we have fighting reported at Dilievka, Krimsky, Torex, Skibinivka, and Novopasky or Petrivka. So these are ongoing. Not much changes regarding this area here. This frontline changes was reported previously already. So we move on towards there's also fighting reported at Oleksandropil, but not very important. This is not a major front line. We move on to the northern flank of the Pokrov front. In this area, Russian forces attacking at Zelene Pole. Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Dvorichna, which we have already mapped it as captured since the 9th. The 9th is like 2 weeks ago. Fighting is reported at Vodiane, Druhi, Yelizavetivka, and Mariolibivka. So this is ongoing. Not much update in terms of the map front line. I'm quite sure there are some major frontline changes around here, but it's not being reported. And moving on over into the Minokhrad sector, I just want to say I'm tired. Yeah, I did like hours. I think 3-4 hours of mapping. So yeah, after the mapping, all I want to do is just rest. But no choice. So as mentioned, Mariolibivka was already mentioned. Promin and Minokhrad was mentioned. Lysivka. Lysivka is still under Ukrainian control somehow. We move into the Pokrov sector. At the Pokrov sector, we have fighting reported at Zelene. Actually, it's not reported, but there was geolocation confirming Russian full control of Zelene. And Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Shevchenko. No, not they announced the capture of Shevchenko. They have captured Shevchenko based on the geolocation, confirming Shevchenko has been captured. Fighting is reported at Pischane, Zvirove towards Pokrov, at Kotline, Udashne, Novosilka, and Uspenivka. At Shevchenko, this geolocation confirmed the Russians' full capture of Shevchenko. Thus, we give the full capture on the 19th. And then over in the Uspenivka region, Ukrainian mapping map that the Russians have advanced in this area here. And previously, we have a geolocation, I believe, over here of Russian forces. So this means that, if there's still Ukrainians in this intestine, then this is an encirclement of Ukrainian forces in the intestine. So, I don't really believe that's the case. Ukrainian Defense Ministry mentioned Dvorichna, which is pretty far from the front line, so I don't really believe much about it. Over in the southern flank of the Pokrov front, we have fighting reported at Nedievka, Novoyelizavetivka, Novoandreyevka, Ukrainka, and Slovianka. At Slovianka, there's some frontline changes. This comes together with Petropavlivka, where the Russian forces advance in this sector, with geolocation confirming the southern part and the northern part is by the Ukrainian mapping. So Russian forces continue to advance greatly in a full frontal assault across from Slovianka to Petropavlivka. And geolocation also shows Russian forces advancing southward. And this is probably intending to bypass this Ukrainian defense as they continue to hit westward. And then they can probably do this or encircle Andreyevka from the north. They could potentially hit the further position. So there is some terrible situation that is developing for the Ukrainians right now. then the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Shevchenko, which I believe this is the one that was mentioned in the Krakow front. So in the Krakow sector or Constantinople sector, I don't even know how to call this right now. So confusing. Okay, so in the Krakow region, that we have fighting reported at Dashny, Yantarne, Uklakli, Constantinople, Roslev, Andrievka, and of course the mention of Shevchenko capture. So and the Ukrainians counter-attack over Zelenivka, but that's about it. There is some geolocation drone strike. This one is a drone strike as well. So nothing particularly special regarding this, but the Russians are pushing in all these directions. The chokehold remains. This continues to be the weak spot for the Ukrainians, as the Ukrainians need to really funnel their troops off this area to retreat. And I thought that they are doing that, but there is no frontline changes to confirm that is the case anymore at this moment. So let's see how this goes. So and then we move on to the this other side of the, okay, let's see what should we call this. Okay, north of V.Novosilka. So this was already mentioned. Constantinople, Roslev. Fighting is reported at Bahatir, Odradne. Shelling is reported at Dnipro and here, and Novi Koma. So this is the operations around here. This front line is not the main focus right now, because everything is very far away, and the main push is not here. So we move into the V.Novosilka. The Battle of V.Novosilka, there is some updates. So first thing first, TOS is now operating into the city of V.Novosilka. Outside, there is also FPV drone strikes. And the Russians have advanced, according to Ukrainian mapping, into the eastern part of V.Novosilka. So the Russian forces have entered into the city. So things are not looking very good for the Ukrainians in this sector, and they have TOS strike positions near the breach, which means that the Russians are actually pushing for the breach right now. So if this breach is taken, the Ukrainians will encirclement is going to get worse, and things is just not looking good in V.Novosilka. Over in the rest of the Novosilka front, we have, I think, reported towards Privilny, Novopil, and Novodarivka. So that's all in this region. Nothing particularly special about here. Over in the Zaporizhia front, we have fighting reported at Huaypole, Novoandrievka, and Kayamsky. The one at Huaypole might just be shelling reports because we have geolocations confirming Russian airstrikes on Ukrainian positions in V.Novosilka. So probably this report by the Russian Defense Ministry is mentioning these airstrikes. So that's all for Zaporizhia front. And over in the Kherson front. First we have fighting being reported on the 19th in the Dnipro direction. Then later they added that there is fighting on Kozatsky Island on the 20th. Then after that, on the same day, they on the different report they mentioned fighting in the Dnipro Delta region. So there's operations along the islands region. So not exactly sure where exactly it is. A number of shelling like Zemievka, no, I'm not sure what was this. At Kozatsky, then this is Tokarevka, no, and whatnot. So a number of shelling on Antonovka, Stanislav, and then what is this? This Yantarne. So number of shelling from the Russians all over the place. Generally seems like intensifying shelling, but it's not very important because shelling has always been normal around here. For the Russians is that they're using this as a place to just grind away Ukrainian forces. Because if the Ukrainian forces keep sending troops to the near the river, they just kill them all. And yeah, then the Ukrainian forces basically achieve nothing because they are there as a deterrence against Russian return to the northern bank of the Kherson. But if you stay there and you are not really doing much because it's just deterrence, then you get airstrike, FPV drone strike. Yeah, you're almost dying for nothing as well. So it's a bit of a conundrum. So, but it is what it is. So that's all. So anyway, this is the SITREP the summary for the day of 1061 to 1062, including information of 1063 on the 21st of January. So anyway, thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe. Yeah, and I'll see you guys in the next update.